Got it.
Well, we are live and back and better than ever. We hope.
Got it.
I don't know about that, but
So we have been gone for 2 weeks and we are back live on YouTube. And it is the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends. We've got Kat Shear, we've got Amy Radowski, we've got Charlie Odie, and myself, the Clydesdale. If you forgot who we were in the last 2 weeks. We want to start by thanking our sponsor, RX Smart Gear, great jump rope company, and they make some other equipment, a new tsunami kind of thingy bag that you carry around. You got to check that out. Use the code Clydesdale15, all caps, to get 15% off your order at rxsmartgear.com. And if you have tried to use that code and it did not work, it is because it is the new year and we were off and they reset that every year. And so I talked to the good people at RX Smart Gear and that is working now. So if you attempted in the last few days and couldn't get it to work, it will work as of this minute.
yeah, and quick shout out to RX Smart Gear for being a sponsor of the Green Beret Project Classic that happened this weekend. And they offered a $250 prize package in addition to free ropes for winners, 50% off ropes for second place, and 25% off coupons for first place, in addition to 20% coupons for all the volunteers. Very, very generous. The winners of RX and Masters got Evo ropes. Like, they didn't get the regular original, they got the $125, thing. So they really put their money where their mouth is, and we're supporting a great cause. So thank you to Dave and Erica for getting that all together for us.
And also we'd like to thank Element 26. They are a great innovative company. They are going to be at Wodapalooza. I have not checked with Dave to see if they're going to be there. RX is going to be there.
Dave and Susan will be there. Yep.
Yeah. So Element 26 will be at Wodapalooza as well. We love that company. They are so innovative. Yesterday was my first day back at the gym, and this baby came in so handy after having the nerve ablation on my back and keeping my back set for all the squats I did yesterday. So Element 26, Clydesdale 10, that's Clydesdale 10, all caps, to get 10% off your order at element26.co. So now the business is out of the way. I don't even know where to start. So much has happened in the 2 weeks we have been gone. I guess we'll start with the biggest news of them all. And that is that Dave Castro was fired from his position with CrossFit. Justin Berg is taking the role for now, is kind of the way it's been put. But there's not a lot of details about everything that's kind of going around. And I just wanted to get all of your initial thoughts about Mr. Castro being fired from CrossFit.
I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. I thought it was like a bad meme. And then I got really sad. And then when my logic started taking over, I came to the conclusion that I have a feeling this has probably been in the works for a while. And like any leadership team that comes in, they're probably not going to let go the guy that knows all the things about the things, the fun things, until somebody else is in place or people are taking notes or figuring out or confident that they can take over such, said processes. And so they took him out of training as soon as Rosa came on board. And I think that was a telltale sign of perhaps things to come for Dave. And while he publicly said, it wasn't mutual, and obviously, it's not what he wanted, I can't imagine that he was super blindsided by it. I really can't. He's a smart, calculating guy, very deliberate, super intelligent, and can read people, I'm sure, better than most. So I'd be surprised if he was actually shocked. I think the timing of it may have caught him off guard, but I think he had to have known that something like this was probably coming, because with all the talk about Greg and things going on in the old regime and that the OGs, the good old boy network and all that. I mean, Dave was certainly at least lumped in with that crowd. Whether he's guilty of, any of the things they talked about or not, I have no idea. But I bet you this was coming for a while. And I think it was more of a surprise to us just because, we hoped it would never happen. And I still feel, I still wished it hadn't.
Yeah, I feel similarly that I was, disappointed and sad, which it seems to be interesting. Like there seems to be a lot of haters out there too, which, for sure, we all love to hate him during the Open and things like that. But I know most of us here who have actually spent some time with him, not only talking to him on our podcast, but also just being at different events, that of how gracious and appreciative he really is of everybody who kind of, volunteers and works with him. So I definitely am disappointed because I do think he is extremely hardworking and knows his stuff. At the same time, I also know that there's been a lot of changes and disappointment with things, that sometimes end up, things end up okay, or if something, it's time to move on. There's something better on the other side. And so I'm going to put my trust in the process, but disappointed that he's not going to be in the same role.
Charlie, you got anything?
Yeah, I think it becomes the business of CrossFit is where I think took over here, where, we're all thinking about the programming and all it's been and everything that's happened. But, if they're trying to grow it as a sport, as a business, there's certain things that you just can't have happen. And there's plenty of people that can program. Rich can program, Spieler can program, all these guys who have developed these programs. Justin can program at this point. It's if we're just looking at it from that aspect, there's plenty of people who can do what Dave has done. But if you're looking at a business side of things, I think there probably had to be a change. They want to become as big as they want to get.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Charlie, on this. Like, I will say I was caught off guard. I actually had gone to bed and I woke up and I looked over at my phone and saw it. And I was like, am I really awake? Am I dreaming? What is going on? Like, holy shit. Like, what just happened? When I kind of thought about it, I think it's something that's needed if the sport is going to grow. I think Dave is super popular inside the walls of the CrossFit community, and we love to hate him. He is the guy we look for in the Open announcements. He's the guy that we look to for the fun Instagram posts and all of that stuff. But if you're going to grow the sport larger than the community that already exists, changes have to be made. There are things that happened that just can't continue to go on if you want to grow bigger. And things like in 2014, skipping over Matt Fraser to put Kalipa on the invitational team, upsetting Matt Fraser to the point where you lose him to market the sport for the rest of his career because of an arbitrary decision. And I think that's where my complaint comes with, or my optimism for the future is so many times arbitrary decisions were made in rulings, in things like that can't happen if this is going to be a professional sport that grows and grows and grows. It was pounded home to me when I was listening to Talking Elite Fitness, and Tommy and Sean revealed that because of comments that Tommy made about the Emma Tall situation, Tommy was almost not allowed to be a broadcaster at the games because it ruffled so many feathers. Those are things that can't happen. You can't get into fights with athletes like Pat Vellner over the turf situation in a sled push and make it a big public event if you want to grow the sport. Those are the things I see. I like Dave. Every time I've met him, he has been the kindest individual. He took pictures with every volunteer that I ever worked with. He was so good on our show and so nice to us. And as a person, I think he's awesome. And so to me, it's not black or white. I love what he did. I love how he grew the sport to this point, but I think we're at a point after 15 years where change needs to happen if we're going to grow it further. Like, this is the top of where we can go with what we have in place, and to get bigger, changes had to be made.
It's not going to be the end of CrossFit. I mean, these things happen all the time. I mean, Steve Jobs is not at Apple anymore. I think they're still doing okay.
He's also dead, but
yeah, I wonder too, Scott, though, like you mentioned that, things need to change and in order for the sport to grow, but I guess what you're also saying, though, is that it couldn't be changed with Dave at the helm, because we're making the assumption that Dave was behind all of those poor decisions. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, because I love the fact that he's a villain. I love the fact that he's such a character. And I would hope, and maybe this has happened and just failed, but I would hope that the people that are trying to grow it bigger, which I would assume Dave is of that opinion too, that they couldn't have just figured out a way to have Dave behave in a certain way that would allow the sport to grow and have Dave still be in the position. Do you know what I mean? Versus just having to get a new person.
So I agree with what you said, that this was probably put in place kind of when the purchase took place.
Right.
And I think they were giving him 18 months to see if he would change, right? That this is the direction we want to go, and see how he acted during those 18 months. I think Dave is Dave. People are going to piss him off. Another great example is calling all the athletes that said I'm out because of the Greg Glassman thing. He called them names after they said that, for months after that situation and after the purchase. That is alienating athletes in your sport when you are the commissioner, essentially, of the sport. That is not what the commissioner does. That's up for the media to talk about things like that. And you as the commissioner need to be more professional and move the sport forward. If you're calling them names, then it gives the appearance of non-equity in the sport.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I take issue with is, and I think Justin LaFranco may have said this, or maybe it was on Morning Chocolate, where they said, I think, they were giving him a grade, like they were going to go in and see how he was and then give him a grade. I don't think they were doing that at all. I think they were just plotting to get rid of him and figuring out what they could do. I don't know that they were giving him a chance necessarily. I think their decision was made. I don't think there was any kind of report card after 18 months where they looked and said, oh, no, you failed, never mind. Or that they were maybe even looking for him to change. I think they were trying to do this all along, and it met their time frame, whatever.
Yeah, here's the deal. If they were looking for him to make a change, first of all, I don't think it's fair to expect somebody to make a change unless they receive feedback that change is expected. Right. And because he was so blindsided, I mean, per his post, said that he was somewhat blindsided by this happening, leads me to believe that there wasn't this, hey, we expect you to change,
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know what the meetings were behind the scenes.
Nope.
And when there's a firing, everybody's trying to save face. CrossFit's trying to save face. Dave's trying to save face. Dave's doing whatever he can. I mean, my God, the next day Rogue had Dave Castro shirts on sale on their website. Like, he used this in a way to his advantage to sell t-shirts and hats and all that kind of stuff too.
And there's no shortage of press for CrossFit either at this point in time. I mean, it's kind of, we're 45 days out from the open and everybody's talking about CrossFit right now. And how many people are going to be tuned into that first announcement just to see what the heck it's going to even look like or be like? Because the whole 3 weeks, people are going to be constantly evaluating it against what they thought it might have been with Dave here. It's, from a PR perspective, it's not going to hurt them at all. I don't think.
As long as it's not a disaster like it was when Glassman pulled it away, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even as good as we do, and we're amateurs, right? And so I think that CrossFit's going to have to put their best foot forward in those announcements. But I think you're right. It creates water cooler talk every Friday morning, people are going to be evaluating which one was better, which one, and that's good. That's good conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do we think Dave's going to do next? Oh, sorry, Em, go ahead.
That's okay. I was going to say, I almost wondered, just there was some talk at the gym that, people were wondering why. And, they thought, which Greg had started, was trying to bring CrossFit back to just the average regular person, for general health and wellness. And somebody said, his firing happened pretty shortly after he posted that video of Sean Sweeney dying and him saying, "You guys are going to die." I wonder if that was like a bunch of little straws, that kind of added up. And they were like, this is not the image we want to portray, that we want to take it back to general health and wellness. And saying that people are going to die during the open may have been the final straw, I don't know. But
yeah, I think it was predetermined.
Yeah. Well, what do we think what's our predictions for what he's going to be up to next? What do we think?
Something with Rogue.
I mean, he needs to write a book. He absolutely needs to write a book.
Yeah. I think he's going to be okay.
Oh yeah.
Like he'll always have a following. He will always be known as the creator. He'll always be known as the legend that started this whole thing and did all the crazy stuff. Like he's going to be fine. And I'm with you. I think he'll write a book.
Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed. I always wanted to be one of the gals that followed him around at the games, like Lindsay and Nicole. And I will never get to do that now. Seriously. Well,
maybe you'll have to follow him around the Rogue Invitational.
That'd be great. Yeah. Call me Dave.
And do the Masters Collective.
You cut out there, Charlie. What was that?
That maybe he'll do the Masters Collective.
Yeah, there you go. MFC.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no shortage of people that would ask him to program. Now,
right.
Whether he would, who knows?
Right. That would be something too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who takes the reins for the program, or if they even divulge that information. I mean, like when you think about other sports and things, you don't necessarily have a bird's eye view into, the interworkings of the rules and the things. You just kind of get a product. Here's the product. Here's how it's delivered. You don't always know, who's behind all of it. And so it'll be interesting to see if maybe they take that route and just sort of deliver all this stuff without, naming like, oh, Austin Malleolo is going to, do the programming or whatever. Like, I don't know how transparent they need to be for the sport to be successful.
Yeah, I bet it goes to a committee. Where it's not one person, it'll be like a group of people putting things together, bouncing ideas off each other, which is probably the best way to do it anyway, to ensure more parity and fairness.
Maybe Ben Bergeron will retire his academy and offer himself up as the face and name. I mean, his programming is pretty decent.
Yeah, we'll get ready for a bunch of biking and rowing
and dumbbells.
Maybe it'll be
I mean, he had an interest in buying CrossFit from the beginning, like he had talked about that. So that would not surprise me or be, especially because he's in a season in his life too, where maybe he wants to switch gears just based on how things have been going for him.
He also unaffiliated at some point. I don't know if he ever reaffiliated, but he also did go through that process.
He did reaffiliate.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Speaking of all that, when it happened with COVID, I will just tell you that Delaware is on a mask mandate again inside. I'm 3 weeks away from opening my gym and we have to wear masks inside gyms. I'm mad.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, for our listeners, I contracted COVID over Christmas. What a Christmas gift. Carried it right into my birthday. So quite the celebration. Going back to the gym yesterday, it is so hard to breathe with your lungs after COVID. And I am double vaccinated, boosted, all that. It is just rough. But I can't even imagine putting a mask on top of that, trying to do the workout and having lungs like these.
Yeah. I don't know. Charlie, didn't you get sick? Didn't your family have get sick at Disney? What happened with that?
Yes, they all got sick. I did not because I'm a superstar.
Mhm.
But we was the flu, so that was fun. So it was the 5 days in the room with sick people. Felt like I was in a nursing home, but that's fun. Poor cable TV.
Yeah. And I've been sick ever since California, like December 8th. And I get tested for everything, and nobody knows what I have. So I just keep coughing and whatever else.
Maybe it's rickets.
I eat lots of oranges. Can't be that. How about you, Aim? You been healthy? Family's been healthy? Knock on wood?
I mean, well, I just started back to work this week. So I've been telling people, I said on Monday, I said, well, starting back to work. So 5 days till I get COVID. So let's see.
It's rampant. Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah, Ohio's really bad right now. Cleveland's getting better, but not Columbus. So.
Mm-hmm. Braden has to get vaccinated before he goes back to school.
Yeah.
So he
has to do weekly testing.
Yeah, or a booster. Sorry, he's already vaccinated, but he has to get a booster.
Mm-hmm.
Amy has been affected though, as her hairdresser does not.
Oh yes, I have been greatly affected. I scheduled to get my hair colored over break so I could be ready to go, and my hairdresser had COVID, and so I had to cancel it. And I'm like, I need you to get back in here. I really need a touch up here, so got it scheduled. I just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, awesome. That's the same hairdresser as the women in my house.
Yeah, everybody in my family goes. So, yeah.
That's funny.
Here's some big news that we haven't talked about yet.
What's up?
Are we going to talk about Mal O'Brien switching coaches?
Yeah.
I think Charlie had the best line about this. Nobody was happier about the Dave Castro news breaking than James Townsend.
Yeah. Seriously.
Really did take the pressure off, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah, Mal O'Brien, it was announced that she was going to Hard Work Pays Off with Matt Fraser, and not sure, we don't have all the background, but left her coach, James Townsend. Sounds like it probably wasn't mutual, but I can't say I think it was a bad move for her necessarily, but I just, from my bird's eye view, it looks like maybe it wasn't a pleasant breakup.
And so what does that mean exactly? So like, was she training with James at James's gym? Was it a gym that James owned and now she's like not at that affiliate? She's going somewhere else? Is she moving to Vermont? Like what? She's moving to Vermont?
That's the rumor I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
He did own the gym she was at.
He did. Okay. Or he does.
To that gym.
Interesting. Well, I will tell you that this came in the mail today.
Oh.
So we see what picking.
What's that? I pre-ordered it like 9 months ago. So I think I was one of the first people, but finally came in the mail. Now I have to get it signed. I'm not sure where or when, but definitely not at Wadapalooza because I'm not going. But Scott, you're going.
I am.
Tell us about your preparations there. And should we be talking about the whole, I don't know, Clydesdale Media thing that's happening?
I have it on my list.
Okay. So let's talk about Wadapalooza and then we'll talk about the thing.
Well, my flight out of Columbus tomorrow is at 3:38 p.m. and I'll be flying to Miami. Okay. I get there like 8 o'clock at night because I got to stop in Charlotte for a bit. It is supposed to be 75 degrees all week. And it has been, 15 here in Columbus?
Yeah, it feels like 9 degrees.
It is so cold here. I cannot wait. The older I get, the worse I like the cold.
Yeah.
It is.
When does the action start? Thursday?
It actually is a 4-day event. Starts Thursday and goes through Sunday. Elites only on Thursday. Okay. And then the whole kit and caboodle Friday through Sunday. I did get media credentialed It's a little bit limited, but I told them, don't worry, next year we will have full media credentials because that's where we will be.
Right.
And, but I did get 8 time slots on the podcast stage
Mm.
each day. So I'm going to be hustling my butt off to get guests for that. I've talked to a few people in advance. Our very own friend of the show, Annika Greer, has agreed to come on and talk about what's going on down there. I talked to Ariel Lowen a little bit because she has been making some big moves with some sponsorships. And she signed with an agent. I don't even know if that's public.
Cool. Good for her.
And she has a new Rogue shirt.
Shut up.
Whoa.
Mom strength.
Yeah.
Mm.
Love it.
I like it.
So I've talked to them. I've talked to a few other people. I've talked to a couple agents, and they're working to get some people that are just down there hanging out for the weekend. So we'll see, hopefully we get some good people. There's a potential that there's going to be some pretty high-end athletes that we have not had on the show before.
Good.
I hope Vellner's one of them.
They're just hanging out there.
Right. Okay.
The
Well, a couple
agents that I've
people have
talked
dropped
to
out too and are still just showing up, you know?
Yeah. Vellner's going to defend his 2-time championship. Right. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I've never been. This will be my first time. So I don't even really know what to expect. You see the party, you see the lights flashing, all that kind of stuff. I'm excited to see it firsthand.
It's going to be awesome. Are you staying with anybody or rooming with anybody?
I'm staying with 3 judges.
Okay.
So they will probably be up and out way before I am in the morning.
Are you staying with Mike?
No, Mike.
Oh.
So this is a good transition piece.
Okay.
So we announced on social media, if you did not see, that we are starting Clydesdale Media. And phase 1 of that is that we are bringing some new podcasts into the circle on our YouTube channel. The first one that came on board was Community RX, and that is my friend Mike Ostman and his friend Tom Dorillo. I think that's it, Dorillo. And they are talking about the people behind the scenes that do all the stuff that keep CrossFit events moving: volunteer judges, event team, security, etc. Plus just their take on things that are going on in the CrossFit world. Mike has been my roommate for all of the stuff that I've gone to throughout, but he just got a new job with Framework USA, which is the company that puts together all the events, like the rigging and all that for Wadapalooza. They do stuff in USA weightlifting. They do stuff for Formula One racing, tons of stuff. He's actually working USA weightlifting, Formula One racing, and another thing. But they are letting him do Wadapalooza because he had already volunteered to do that.
Okay.
So congratulations to him, but check out his podcast, Community RX, on this YouTube channel. We are also bringing on Taylor Stride, who is doing Reframed RX. And that is going to be from a physical therapy perspective, looking at if you have nagging little aches and pains, things to do to work that out. It's going to be a seasonal show. So she will do like an 8-episode season. It will be released, and then she'll do like another 8-episode season because her life is so busy that that's the way she has to do it.
Sure.
But we will have her every week when Blue City CrossFit podcast comes on with our friend Teddy and Taylor's boyfriend, Matt Detman.
Mm-hmm.
They do a show that has been recognized as a pretty good CrossFit podcast. Taylor is a CrossFit Games athlete. Her boyfriend is a Masters Games athlete. So you get that perspective from them. They'll be coming on hopefully by next week. And then Type 1 Lifting hopefully will be on tomorrow. And it is Amy, Kat, and I have all been guests on that podcast. And he also gets big name CrossFit athletes on, different people that are interesting to him in the sport. And he does a lot of fundraising for juvenile diabetes. He has a t-shirt company and wardrobe company that all the proceeds go to children with type 1 diabetes.
And he's a type 1 diabetic himself, right? Yeah,
he is. And so I am working with him tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll have everything moved over for him tomorrow morning. And so, yeah, we're super excited about that. Other people have been interested in coming on board, and we'll vet that out and see if it's something that meshes with our mission and philosophy. And if so, we'll have some more shows come on as well.
Yep. I've got a potential one for you too. I want to talk to you about. So,
okay.
That'll be cool.
So there's that. And then there is going to be a phase 2. I don't want to give too many details about that, but we are going to be moving into a full media company that will be doing a news show. It will be different than anything that I've seen out on the CrossFit space thus far. I've been working with some of the people behind the scenes to get us some top end talent. But some things that we're definitely going to have on the show are, we want to promote fantasy fitnessing sports, right? Fantasy sports has taken over all sports. If you don't know who fantasy fitnessing is, go check them out now. You can pick a team for Wadapalooza, and you can do the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends podcast league and compete against the 4 of us with our teams. But they're going to come on and do like who you should pick, who they think are the best viable options. And if you've ever seen their Instagram, they do a ton of analysis about who is good at what events, who is good where they need to be. And they're going to formulate that into a segmented part of our show that will be on there every week, which will be super cool. And that's just one of the ideas. The 4 of us are going to be involved in this media company. We have the fantasy fitnessing guys. The other podcasters, we're going to clip things that are newsworthy from their podcasts, put into the segment. And our friend Dex Hopkins has agreed to come on board as well, from a photographer, videographer standpoint, as well as he has some ideas for some segments on the show, which I think are pretty innovative and pretty cool. But we have not vetted those out completely with everybody. So I will hold off on all of that.
The hay is not in the barn yet.
It is not. It is not. It is spaghetti on the wall at this point.
Got it.
And we have, if you've ever talked to Dex, everything is spaghetti on the wall, and you have to kind of sort through it to get to the meat.
Let the horses stable and let them run.
What's that?
I let the horses out the stable and let them run.
That is it. So that's exciting news. Any other? I want to hear about the Green Beret event. You talked about it with RX Smart Gear. You helped organize that event.
I did.
How did it go?
It was awesome. So we had 50 teams of 3. We had a scale division, an RX division, and a 40 plus masters division, both men and women, teams of 3. It was great. I mean, we set up, we were on a skeleton crew. We had plenty of judges, I should say. My friend Paul out of 12 Labors was the head judge. He was a great pick. Wilson Pack came on Saturday. He was not able to compete. He was supposed to compete, but he had some health issues over the holidays, and it was his anniversary weekend, and it just kind of didn't work out. But he came on Saturday to support us, and it's going to be a thing. Like, it's definitely, we were very successful. We raised tens of thousands of dollars for the Green Beret project, which is just such a great, as you guys know, if you've heard of Adam Kramer, he was on our podcast. He runs this organization for at-risk youth in the local area. They have a CrossFit gym. They have job training. They have, counseling. They use money to, change mom's tire if, she gets a flat tire and you can't get to school. These guys, these young men and women, don't have strong father figures, and Adam and the other men in the organization just play that role so well. And these kids are, thriving in high school, and they're moving on to, other educational endeavors, or they're going into the military, and they're just like creating lives for themselves. And it's just so cool to see. And all these kids work with him all the time. They were volunteering at the event. They were ever present, during this event. They have a golf tournament in September that's very successful too. It's a great fundraiser. And people just couldn't say enough about it. Everybody said how great it was. And I'm just really proud to be a part of it, and so honored that they asked me to help them. And I think we are learning and growing, all of us together, to make it even better. So really looking forward to being a part of that in the future. And definitely everybody that was there said they'd be back, and if we can get them to bring a friend or two, it's just going to keep growing. So your job, Mr. Schweitzer, this week is to try to get with Matt and or Kristen to see if we can't confidentially find out when WAS is going to be next year. Because one of the big issues that we ran into was sponsorship and attendance, because we ran a week behind Wodapalooza. And because Noble is one of our sponsors, and we just couldn't get hands-on support from Noble because they were so busy. We wanted Dylan Malitsky to be the MC, and he said any other weekend of the year I would have done it for free, but I can't because I'm really need to be in Miami. So we have to do it pretty much in January or early Feb, just based on the other fundraiser that we do. And I told Adam and Max that I would try to get with Matt and or Kristen to just say, hey, if you guys could privately give us an idea of when you think you're going to go next year, we could back up or go 2 weeks forward and not have it conflict. So let's see if we can get that bit of info.
I will see what I can do.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great.
Well, the last thing I have on my list, as we're kind of running down to 4 minutes left in our show, is that Hustle Made is making some waves in the sponsored athlete area. They announced at the Dubai CrossFit Championship that Jacqueline Dolstrom is their sponsored athlete. She actually wore the Hustle Made stuff at Dubai. They have said there's 4 more athletes are going to announce, and they announced the second athlete today, but it's who they call athlete number .03, because the second athlete had some issues with whatever. But today they announced another friend of the show, Emily Rolfe, as their second athlete, and she is joining the Hustle Made crew. So they are jumping in both feet first, competing against WIT and Nike and Reebok and all of those people for apparel sponsorships with CrossFit Games athletes.
Yeah, it's a cool, YouTube story, really. I mean, Craig started out with these, very amateur, just little video snippets of a fan of the sport. And he's, worked hard and grown it into something that's super viable. It's cool to see.
Yeah. As someone who's kind of doing this thing, it's cool to see them kind of succeed and really do well in the sport. And he kind of described it as, we looked at getting us financially viable first, and now we're at a place where we can help others and support them in this space as well, so that they can do more stuff. So I thought that was a really cool thing, and a really good example for all of us.
Yeah.
So with that, we have 2 minutes left. Does anybody have anything else they want to share before we head? Ooh.
My cat.
I love it. Love you madly.
Yep. That's what my dad always says and signs all of our cards and everything. And so I just decided that that's something I don't think I would regret having on my body. So I just did it. And didn't hurt at all.
And now you feel like a real CrossFitter.
Except if it's like, oh, it's a lovely thing to write on here. It's not anything badass or anything.
It's very
It looks great though.
Yeah, it does look really good. So, yeah.
And didn't you tell me that you kind of now have the itch to get more?
Well, I mean, I knew that would happen. I mean, I knew I would be like, oh, okay. Except I needed to be like meaningful stuff, or, like something I really want, because I don't want to just go get them to just get them, because I just,
yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I have, real quick, I'm offering that free week of CrossFit. My opening week is January 31st. I have 27 people signed up for the week. Just pretty exciting. And I have probably 7 or 8 people signed up that I don't know who they are. It's kind of neat. Yeah. So
next week, I'm sure we will dive into your new
Oh
location.
my gosh. It's crazy.
It'd be awesome if you had some video to share with us.
Okay. I can do
when
that.
we do that next week. And
Floors will be clean.
we need to figure out when the crew is going to head out to Delaware to do a live show. And I've talked to at least one games athlete who has said they would come.
Cool.
So we just have to give her advance notice.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we can try to do like an open weekend if that person's not too put out by it being an open weekend. And if not, maybe right before then. But we'll figure it out. And even if we've been open a month or two and that's when it happens, that's fine too. It doesn't have to be, right away. Because I'd rather have more people in the gym to share it with, for sure. But I'm at the point now, guys, here's the deal. I'm at the point where I'm just adding stuff to my road cart to get to the $5,000 so I don't have to pay for shipping. Like, I think I may have done that twice. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem though.
Very dangerous. Yeah.
Shouldn't be hard.
I'm like, I got my 4 new rowers and they look so pretty and they have like new features and they have new graphics on the side that I'm taking the 3 used rowers and I'm selling them for like $700 so that I can replace them for $900 with brand new ones so they all match. Like we're at this level now. It's just crazy. Yeah. I need an intervention.
I can't wait to hear more next week.
Yeah.
We do have a new episode that'll come out Thursday of this week. It is 4-time defending adaptive upper limb athlete, Casey Acree. Great interview. He is now with the Underdogs team. He is a coach and does all the programming on the adaptive side for all divisions. But he's going for his 5th straight title this weekend at Wodapalooza. So make sure you check that out. And then we don't know what's going to happen next week because we don't know what we may record this weekend. But we will. I'm sure it'll be something good. Until next time, we will see you then on the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends.
Bye.
Safe travels.